Well, my issue is that it's like you cannot, like, okay, so when you think of the Almighty Creator, you don't think of an entity that sleeps or uses the bathroom or has a wife and has a child in the sense that you and I have.
Okay.
So that's why you cannot say Jesus is the son. That's why you see in the Quran that Jesus is referred to Isa ibn Maryam.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that it's a miracle that Allah gave Maryam, a child, which was Isa, Messiah.
Yeah.
But we don't say he's the son of Allah because Allah can't have a son.
Why? Why can't he?
He can't because of what I just explained. You can't
What did you
give
explain?
him any human attributes.
That you only explained he can't have a human son because he's not a human being. But what makes you think that only humans can have sons? Why can't Allah have a son that's divine without Allah having to have sex with a woman?
This idea is completely rejected. We
Where?
don't want to associate. We
Where
don't
is
want
it
to
rejected,
associate
though?
any kind of partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, but where is it rejected? You're saying rejected. Where does the Quran reject that Allah can have a son who's not human, who is divine, one with him, without Allah having to have sex with someone?
There is a verse in the Quran which refers to how can Allah have a son when he does not have any sort of
that's 6:101.
humanly partner.
Well, let me repeat that verse for you. In chapter 6, verse 101, it says, "Wonderful originator of the heaven and earth. How can he have a son seeing he has no consort?" Okay, you accept that logic?
Yeah, he has no consort is like
A partner, someone that
we have. Yeah.
But you accept that logic?
So
I just want to make sure you accept that logic.
Allah cannot do stuff. I mean, Allah doesn't do stuff like you can't even put him on that.
So you do accept that logic. The reason why I'm telling you is that because Maryam, the mother of Jesus, said in chapter 3, verse 47, and in chapter 19, verse 20, she said the same thing. How can I have a son seeing I have known no man? But then it says, Allah said to her, it's easy for you. You can have a son without having a man to have sex. So why was it easy for Mary to have a son without sex, but your God can't have a son unless he has sex? That's chapter 3, verse 47 of the Quran, and chapter 19, verse 20. So how come Mary can have a son without having sex, but your God can't have a son unless he has sex?
These kind of questions that you're asking are kind of outside the realm of what's in our scriptures.
But Mary answered the way Allah answered.
This question that you're asking is not something that we can answer based off what we know from our scriptures and our scholars and stuff like that.
Okay.
So what I'm saying to you is that this is what our scholars have said, is that Allah cannot have a
Which scholars
son.
are you appealing to? Because not all Muslims are Sunni. You have your Shia scholars and so on. So when you say scholars?
If you these verses in the Quran that you're quoting, people such as Ibn Kathir or Ibn Abbas, when they comment on those ayat, they will say that Allah can't have a son.
Okay, and I keep telling these Muslim scholars, the present, because they're dead in the past, I can't ask them why. Why can't he? I don't understand it. Just to say he can't doesn't tell me why he cannot. Because if the objection, because you mentioned chapter 6.
So I can ask you something about Christianity,
sure,
which no scholar has ever said,
okay,
or has ever. So I can ask you a question. How can Jesus, come up from the dead? How can he do that? I can ask you that.
Because God is life.
You can tell me what you believe.
No,
it is.
God is life.
Well, you don't have any kind of, huh?
That's not equivalent, because God is life, and he has power over death. Death is something that's in the hands of God. But that actually makes my point. If God has power over death, where he can bring life out of death, why then are you saying he doesn't have power to have a son without having sex in order to have a son?
So you see, it says like having a son is sort of it's a humanly trait, and because
No.
we don't like to associate our Creator with having anything humanly.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the Quran denies that having a son is simply a human trait. The Quran actually acknowledges there are things that are said to be the mother of something or the offspring of something that are not human. For example, you should know this from your Quran. In chapter 43, verse 4 of the Quran, it says the Quran is in Kitab, Kitab, the mother of the book. And then if you go, that is with Allah. It says, if you go, don't take my word for it, open your Quran, because you can read the Arabic, chapter 43 of the Quran, verse 4, it says, this Quran is in Kitab, Kitab, the mother of the book, that is with us. And then in chapter 13, verse 39, chapter 13, verse 39, it says Allah.
13:39?
Yes, your mic blew my ears. There it says Allah can confirm or blot out whatever he so wishes, because with him is Kitab, the mother of the book. It says that in both those verses. You can read Arabic and confirm. So if you're saying having a son is a human trait, how then can there be the mother of the book with Allah if having children is a human trait? Being a mother is a human trait. Being a father is a human trait.
Okay, so the mother of the book verse, can you repeat that verse again? I need to read it.
Okay, do you have your Quran with you so I can tell you where to go?
Yeah, I got my
okay,
computer.
Go to chapter 13, verse 39 first. Chapter 13, verse 39. That's the first one.
See, so if you go to Matthew 5:17, you would see that
we can talk about Matthew 5. What does that got to do with
you would be required to follow the law of the Old Testament.
You sure about that?
The thing is,
wait, why are you changing subject, Jihad? What happened? Go back to the mother of the thing. We'll go to Matthew 5 because that's not going to help you. Go to.
We're going to come to 13:39, but I was going to make my point. Okay. You come to a lot of things in Islam, which is outside the scope of what our scholars have mentioned. And the thing is, in Christianity, you don't have really any scholars that mention anything. You guys just say what it is that you believe.
I'm going to name you
changed over time.
All right, well, I'm going to name some church fathers.
To the Catholic Church. But
Jihad,
now we can
you're
go
talking
back
over
to
me.
1339.
Yeah, but before you go, hold on, calm down, buddy. You're bringing too many issues. I'm going to tell you that's not true, because historically we've had theologians and scholars and martyrs who died as martyrs for Jesus. Have you heard of Ignatius? Do you know Ignatius?
No.
Clement of Rome? Have you heard of Clement of Rome?
No.
Polycarp?
I've heard of John of Damascus.
Okay, that's after your prophet. Polycarp?
No, I don't know that about
so then,
this stuff.
Just like you don't like me to represent Islam or your scholars, don't talk about Christianity if you haven't studied. We have scholars whose writings are still with us, written in their language that we translate English, like Ibn Kathir wrote in Arabic. We have Irenaeus, who wrote in Greek, in English. We have what Ignatius wrote in Greek, translated in English. So let's keep the scholars aside. Let's just go to the Bible and the Quran, because I don't think you want to get into a discussion of your scholars, my scholars. Let's stick with something that's right in front of you, the Quran. In chapter 13, verse 39. What does it say?
Yeah, al-Kitab.
What does it say?
It says al-Kitab.
So the al-Kitab, the mother of the book, is with Allah, right? It's with him, right?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay, now go to another one. Chapter 43, verses 3 and 4 of the Quran. Chapter 43, verses 3 and 4 of the Quran. Chapter 43.
43.
And then read 3 and 4. The Quran is in what? The Quran is in what? It's in something. Tell me what is in. Excuse me.
Indeed, we have made it an Arabic Quran that you might understand.
Keep reading to 4. Don't stop.
قرآن عربية تعلمون. Yeah, so it's in Arabic.
Keep going.
And indeed, it is in the mother of the book, with us, exalted and full of wisdom.
So the Quran, it lives where? Where does it live? It's inside what?
وَإِلْنَا فِي وَإِلْنَا فِي الْكِتَابِ.
You got it or no?
Yeah, and indeed it is, and the mother of the book. With
So
us,
it's in the mother of the book, right? The Quran is in the mother of the book, right?
What are you driving at?
Okay,
here?
well, if you be patient, I'll get there, man. Just be patient, dude. So the Quran, you read it in Arabic, is in the mother of the book, right? So it comes out of the mother of the book, right? You're reading it right there, man. Right?
وَإِنَّ فِي الْكِتَابِ.
Fi, that's in. Fi. In. So it's in.
Fi, but it doesn't say the Quran is.
Yes, it is. Just what's before it? This is the Arabic Quran. Okay, what's the inna fi? What is it referring to in verse 3, buddy? Come on, man. The Arabic Quran. It is in.
Okay.
All right. So, do you agree with me?
Let's go back.
There's a mother of the book with Allah. And the Quran comes from that mother book. And that Quran comes from the book, right? The mother of the book.
So so Allah revealed the Quran. He made it perfectly clear. So it's with him, but he gave it to us.
No, it didn't say with him. No. See, you mistranslated the verse in my presence. It didn't say it's with him. It says the mother of the book is with him, and the Quran is in that mother. It didn't say the Quran is with him. It said the mother of the book is with him, and the Quran is in that mother. It came out of that mother of the book. Did you read the verse?
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
So here we go.
Oh, good. So you said exactly right? Jihad, you said exactly. So
the mother would have been the original Torah.
No, we're not talking about. Don't change the subject, dude. Talk about the mother of the book.
When they change the scriptures, the Jews and the Christians.
How can the Quran have a mother, Jihad? So you're changing the topic because you're scared. It's okay. I know you're scared. How can the Quran have a mother who's the daddy, Jihad?
Don't tell me I'm scared.
Okay, then answer the question. If the Quran has a mommy, who's the daddy? Mommy is there. Where's daddy?
Look, man, you're really coming to the points now that have no significance. You're telling me who is the mother of the book. From first sight, the way I see it, and you didn't even give me an opportunity to read the tafsir here. But
we got to go to
based
tafsir.
On my interpretation, this is kind of referring to the Quran sort of being the confirmation of what was revealed before.
So wait, you're telling me you can't understand the plain Arabic Quran, you have to go tafsir. But so whole point is, in heaven with Allah, there's the mother of the book. If there's a mother with Allah, it's the mother of the book, then how can the mother have offspring if it doesn't have a consort? If it's the mommy, there has to be a daddy. Otherwise, there's no mommy without daddy, right?
So this is a linguistic issue.
Linguistic issue.
So in Arabic, when you say al-Kitab, it's not a literal mother. It's like in the Arabic language they say like if I say this is Abu, he's I say Abu Asmar, like this guy is he's really brown. He's Abu this. So we don't like, it's not like a literal.
Okay. So you're saying you can have.
This is a linguistic issue.
All right, linguistic.
And I think you know a little bit.
Hold
Arabic,
on. Well, let's come back to it.
So you would be able to know these linguistic nuances.
Okay, well, let's come back to it. You just proved my point. The mother of something, the father of something, or the son of something doesn't have to be physical, sexual. So you just admit my point. So why can't God have a son without it being sexual and physical? See, that's the point I'm making, and you're seeing the point when it comes to the mother of the book.
Well,
all right.
That's a different story.
All right, well, let's go to Surah An-Nisa. Can we go to chapter 4 now?
Because we're referring.
Yeah.
We're referring to Allah, which is a different thing.
Well, it's a hard thing to say Allah because the mother is with Allah. How is it with Allah if Allah's not the daddy? It belongs to Allah. The mommy belongs to Allah. That means Allah's the daddy. So I just showed you Allah's consort. It's the mother of the book.
Because
That's Allah's
at
consort.
the end of the day, we don't want to refer. So anything we talk about, like I just described these linguistic nuances, at the end of the day, we don't ascribe anything to Allah. What don't you understand about that?
I didn't ascribe
He's
anything. I'm just reading your
He's
Quran.
so exalted that we just leave him in a category by himself. We don't say
good.
he has a wife.
Good. Okay, I'm going to agree with you. Yeah. All right, now, when you say he's exalted, do you believe he's above the throne or is he on the throne? Is he on the arsh or is he above the arsh? Is he on the kursi or above the kursi? Is he on it or above it? I don't know what you believe.
Okay, so this is
no, because you said he's exalted.
Which verse are you talking about now?
There's chapter 7 of the Quran, verse 54. Chapter 7, verse 54. Chapter
7, verse 54.
Yeah, because I have a question about that. Where Allah is? You said because he said he's exalted.
It's a metaphorical.
Okay,
thing.
well, some think it's actual throne, but I just want to know: do you think he's on it, above it? What does that mean?
No, because I heard many scholars say that there's no such he's not sitting. There's no he's sitting on a no, that's not the case.
To some scholars that you follow, that may be Ash'ari and Maturidi.
No, I think the consensus amongst the mainstream Muslim scholars are saying.
I can quote to you the Salafi, the ones who follow the Salaf Salih. They say he's above the throne in a manner suiting His Majesty, and we don't try to.
When you say the throne, it's like metaphorical as the earth is like. It's like he's above the earth. He's above everything in the world. He created it. It doesn't mean that there's an actual chair that he's sitting in. Okay. As you Christians,
all right. Well, I have a problem though.
CP, you don't know how many times I've heard CP come to this, and it's just ridiculous.
Jihad, my friend. If you're telling me it's a metaphor, then in chapter 69, verse 17, it says 8 angels.
But you just said chapter 7, so I was
hold
going
on,
to
dude.
the verse.
Hold on. You just said something. Be patient, dude. Just little patience. You said the throne is a metaphor. In 69:17 of the Quran, it says 8 will carry the throne. 8 will be carrying the throne. 8 angels. What are they carrying if it's a metaphor? 69 verse 17 of the Quran. 69
so are you
verse
redirecting me to another verse now?
Because you just said, let me repeat, man, listen to yourself. You said
I heard what you just said, so I'm asking you, are you redirecting me?
Yeah, because I want to know, how is it a metaphor? What are the 8 angels carrying? A metaphor? 69:17. Read it.
Oh, look.
So he's carrying a metaphor. The 8 angels are carrying a metaphor. They're not actually carrying a throne.
We're going to read the tafsir on that one too.
Okay, it's up to you, dude. If you want to go tafsir, it's up to you. But just read for me 69:17. So the Quran itself is not plain. You got to go to tafsir. Okay, 69:17. But read it for me. Just read what it says. How many carry the metaphorical throne? The throne that's not real. It's a metaphor. How many are carrying it? That metaphor. Let me know when you get there. Read it. Unless you want me to read it. What?
Hold on, I'm looking at it.
What the heck was that in the background, dude? Anyway, but go ahead.
This is
all right. Yeah, if you want me to read it, I'll read it for you. You can find tafsir because it's taking you a long time to find it.
You can. Yeah, read what you got.
Okay.
Whatever translation.
Well, I have a lot of them. I'll read Hilali Khan. And the angels will be on its sides, and 8 angels will that they bear the throne of your Lord above them. So they're going to carry the throne above them.
8 angels.
That's
8 of them.
Yeah. Do you want me to add? I'm just going with the verse. I can't add to the verse.
يحمل العرش ربك في
Okay,
so are we going to the tafsir?
You wanted to. I'm asking if the arsh is not an actual throne, what are they carrying?
It's not clear. I mean, it's as I said, the arsh is metaphorical, so we need to.
So they're carrying a metaphorical throne. Okay.
We need further clarification at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, I mean, we need tafsir.
All right. Okay.
Right?
Now here's my question for you. Then. Okay. Since you don't throne, you do believe Allah is above His creation, then above the seven heavens, above.
Allah is above His creation, but He's not sitting in a chair.
Okay. Forget sitting on the chair. Okay. All right. He's not. Let's go with that. He's not sitting on the chair, but you do believe He's above His creation. Okay. Can you read for me Surah Ali Imran, chapter 3, verse 55? Chapter 3, verse 55 about Isa. If you can read that for me. La 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 la. La, la, la. Sorry, I had to just do that to loosen my throat because it's getting sore. I'm not young anymore. I used to be able to speak, but now I'm getting old. Anyway, 355. Yeah, I know you liked that, didn't you? Oh, man. Anyway, when you read 355, notice what Allah says to Isa, God says to Jesus in your Quran. Yeah. If you want, I'll read it. It's up to you.
I'm scrolling down, man. Give me a second.
Okay. I mean, I can read it too. You let me know. It's up to you. You can read it. I'll read it. You can read Arabic. I'll read in English.
I mean, yeah, go ahead and read it in English, and
okay.
I'm looking at it too.
All right, here. It says, I can read anyway. I'll read Yusuf Ali. Behold, God said, O Jesus, I will take thee and raise thee to myself. I will raise thee to myself. That's the part I wanted to focus on. And raise thee
when Allah said, oh, Jesus, indeed, I will take you and raise you to myself.
Exactly.
And purify you.
Okay, myself, right? So Allah's going to take Jesus to who? Allah's taking Jesus to who?
He picked him up.
Yeah, but it says to myself. Who's myself?
Allah took him to heaven.
Did it say heaven or to myself? I'm reading the verse in front of my eyes. Allah, I will take you to myself. This is also in Surah Al-Nisa. So go to Surah Al-Nisa, chapter 4 of the Quran, verse 158.
To myself.
All right, so now what about 4:158? Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 158. Does it say the same thing? You want me to read in English? Chapter 4, verse 158, Surah An-Nisa. Same thing about Isa. They neither killed nor crucified him. But then it says, when you get there, chapter 4, verse 158, nay, but Allah took him unto himself. Allah is ever mighty wise. So Allah took him to himself. To himself.
You said verse 2, 158?
No, chapter 4, verse 158. Surah Al-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 158. So I just read it. Nay, Allah took him to himself. Allah took Jesus to himself. And that's what 355 said. Yeah. I will take thee to myself, right?
Rather, Allah raised him to himself.
You got it, right?
Allah.
Okay, so
Aziz and Hakim.
Okay, now your Quran just said, and I want you to hear it carefully. Your Quran just said in two places, Allah took Jesus to himself. I will take you to myself, took him to himself. But you just said Allah is above the creation. So now you just have to admit Jesus is with Allah above the creation because he's with Allah. Why is Jesus above the creation?
Because Allah took him up there.
So a creature is above creation. A creature is above creation? A creature is above creation?
Allahu A'lam. Allah is the creator. Jesus was sent.
No, that's not what I'm asking. If he's a creature, how can a creature be above creation? To say he's above creation means he's separate from creation. That doesn't work.
He's in heaven.
Didn't say heaven unless Allah's in heaven.
Allah does as he wills.
All right, so Allah will to take a creature above creation to be with him, making him his partner. But if you're a creature, you can't be above creation. To be a creature means you're part of creation. If you're above creation, that means you're separate from creation. So either Jesus is separate from creation or he's part of creation? If he's part of creation, he can't be above creation with Allah. Make up your mind.
I'm telling you, Jesus is in heaven with Allah.
But the Quran didn't say he's in heaven. All right, can you go now to chapter 4?
Hey, my friend, do you go, are you a literalist now? I mean, you don't understand, you know.
No, I went by what you said. I said, where's Allah? You said above creation. Then Allah could have said, oh, Isa, I'll take you to heaven. Couldn't Allah have said that? But he didn't say. He goes, oh, Isa, I will take you to myself. I just went with what you said.
Allah is above the heavens and the earth.
And Jesus is there.
Allah picked up Isa because when they tried to crucify him, somebody else was put in his place because Allah was not going to allow him to happen to him.
Okay, so
okay,
you just said
wants that for Isa alayhi salam.
Good, but you just
so
said
Allah wouldn't want that.
You just said Allah's above the heavens and the earth. So now Jesus is above the heavens and the earth. Excellent. I like that. Good.
No, I mean, we don't have a clear explanation. We just know that he's picked up.
Wow.
We don't have.
So your Quran is a book of confusion.
About specifics here, like you're talking about. Oh, what is the location? Give me his latitude and longitude. While you're at it, you know, it's like you're. This is still faith at the end of the day.
So you're basically telling the non-Muslims who are hearing your Quran is a book of confusion because no one knows what it means. So instead of guiding me, it's confusing me. And this is what Allah wants me to follow, something that confuses me.
This is semantics. You know, I mean, you're getting too deep.
I'm getting too deep because I'm taking the words for what they say. I'm just reading the words and I'm taking it too deep.
Okay, so if I did that with the Bible, you're going to come with your whole spiel about, no, this is what it means. But that's going to be what you're saying, and it might not be affirmed by any so-called scholar of the past, if you have any. And there probably is not a consensus within the Christian community about it. So we have what our scholars say. And you're talking about, I mean, you're really getting into semantics to a whole nother level to where it's like, okay, how can we know? At the end of the day, it's Allahu A'lam. So,
okay, all right. Okay, then let's go to chapter 4, verse 171 of the Quran. Chapter 4, verse 171. If you get
chapter 4, verse what?
171. Ayah 171, because you know the Arabic, and I know you're going to know how to correctly translate this, unlike some translations, right? So 4171.
Well, I told you. Well, I mean, I'm gonna.
I mean, you can read the Arabic. That's what I'm saying. You can read the Arabic. At least no one can deceive you.
I have a strong basis in Arabic, but I'm stronger in English, as I told you.
That's fine, but at least enough where you know when someone's mistranslating, which is good. So if you're in 4171.
And, you know, I don't like to delve into all these details. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we can keep I mean, Islam commands us to do good and forbid evil, to pray.
You want to talk about that? So you want to talk about moral teaching of the Quran? Is that what you want to talk about now? We can do that. Because you're saying it commands to do good. We can talk about that.
You're the one who's bringing up the points, and I'm the one who's here to refute. So what are you?
Okay, so now you said Islam. Okay, you said Islam teaches good. Okay, so let's talk about morality of Islam because you follow Quran and Sunnah. Your prophet at one time, I'm not saying now, you're Sunni, so I know you don't do it now. But at one time, your prophet accepted Zawaj al-Muta. Muta, right?
Yeah.
You're okay with that? Him doing Muta?
At the time, it was accepted.
So now be honest with me as a man who has respect. You have ghira, you have honor. How would you feel if you lived at that time? So understand what I'm saying. How would you feel if you lived at that time and one of the Muslims said, I want to marry your sister for 3 days, and then when I'm done, I'll divorce her and give her money. You honestly would be okay with that?
I don't believe that it was done in that context. I believe it was more of, you know, when they were away from their wives.
Oh, so it's okay? They were away? So, okay. A Muslim from California is away from his wife, and you're living in Chicago. And he says, Ya akhi, I'm going to marry your sister for 3 days and give her money when I'm done because my wife is in California. Are you okay with that?
Well, at the end of the day, you have to consider it like this. Do you want to have unlawful sexual relations in the eyes of Allah? Or do you actually want to, if the Prophet said something and he's the highest moral authority. So if he permitted something at a certain time under certain circumstances, or it's not for us to really question that. We just follow him exactly as he says, and we obey him. So
you really think a God Almighty, who's all powerful, would legalize?
Hey, I'm giving it to you straight. Am I beating around the bush?
No, you're honest. Okay. All right. Okay, that's fine. All right. Okay, then you're saying if it's from Allah, okay, that's fine. All right, then you can see why non-Muslims have a problem with it. But okay, now that you said, well, if it's from Allah, all right, fine. Okay, that's fine. Let me ask you this then. In chapter 4, verse 24 of the Quran.
I don't have an issue with it, but it's not something that at the time, so a lot of things about the Quran is it's descriptive. So there are certain things that you guys like to point to, and if I come with Numbers 31, you're gonna it's that time. It's Moses had to do this.
No, that's not my answer. I wouldn't answer that way. I wouldn't answer that way, but that's okay. I wouldn't answer that. I can answer that very easily. I will, but that's not how we answer Numbers 31. But coming to this issue, Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 24. That you said, okay, Allah permitted it at that time, and that was legal, and I have no problem with it. But now the Shia, who say that their hadith still allows muta, it's not been abrogated. Do you then tell them, then you guys are committing zina because you're committing prostitution and trying to excuse it? Would you accuse them of committing zina?
Yeah, because it was said that it was allowed for a certain period of time. Like when the Muslims, they went on expeditions and they were away from their wives, they were allowed to do it. But they could do it. They didn't have any wives at that time, and it was a different time and stuff like that.
Okay, so the Shia doing it today.
They needed to give a mahr, give a gift, give a dowry to marry a woman, and they could enjoy her in a marital way. And
you consider that marriage?
After some time, the marriage would be dissolved.
Okay, brother in humanity. Be honest.
Right now, we don't permit that, and the Prophet didn't permit it when when the Muslims returned home and they're living amongst their community, for them to just do it, with each other's daughters and stuff as a form of no. Marriage, of course, is meant to be a long-term thing.
Say it again. Marriage is meant to be what? Marriage is meant to be what?
I said by and large.
It should be a long-term thing.
It's meant to be a long-term thing.
Okay.
Now, there are certain circumstances that may warrant that, but the way we have it now, it's not permitted.
Okay. Let me just repeat what you said. Marriage is meant to be for a long term. Even though I may marry someone that I want to stay with, things happen, we get divorced. But my intention wasn't to marry her and divorce her. So you agree. But you're saying because Muhammad, under the orders of your God, because you believe Allah spoke to your prophet, when your prophet said, you can marry them short term, and you can tell a woman, look, I'm just going to marry you for 3 days and pay you money. That was legal marriage, even though the intention was to be married for a short term. And you really call that marital? You really call that a marriage?
Well, what you got to understand, they were doing Allah's will at the time.
Allah's will, okay.
So they were out preaching Islam and, assisting in the expansion of Islam. And so they did not have their wives with them. So it was permitted for them to temporarily marry the women who were available to them. But after a while, this practice was forbidden.
And so now when the Shia do it, it's zina, it is wicked, it's haram, it's immoral. Now if they do that, right?
Correct. And they they reject our hadith.
Yes, right.
And they curse a lot of the
companions.
Sahabi.
Yep.
And so they have become misguided in a lot of ways. And I can't speak for them.
Sure, no, I put them
a lot
aside.
of issues because
But I just want to make sure that we get this correct. Now, when the Shia do it, it's zina, it's sexual immorality, it's even adultery. We'd even call it prostitution. But for some reason, when your prophet allowed it to be done, because he allowed it, then it's no longer prostitution, it's no longer adultery, it's no longer sexual morality. So what changed?
What changed is the circumstances.
Oh, so when Muhammad decides, if the circumstances are right, then it's no longer zina. Okay.
So there are certain circumstances which may warrant that, like in maybe like a wartime or, something like that where it's of dire need. But the way we're living now, it's not as if we need to have temporary marriages.
Right,
it's not something that we should practice, but marriage should be more long term.
Should be, yeah.
The way we do
okay, all right. Now another question then, because you said Islam teaches good and so on. All right. In 424 of the Quran, Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 24, it says, unlawful for Muslims are married women except those whom your right hands possess. So I can go to the Hadith, Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abu Dawud, but I think you know that this is referring to when the Muslims are in war and they attack a place and they take people captive. And they find beautiful women that they've taken captive who are married. The Quran says those women, though they're married, because they are captives, they're lawful for you to have sex with, you can sell them. Are you okay with that?
So now you're talking about malakat al-yamin.
Yep.
And maghanim, which are like spoils, I guess.
Yes. So you okay with that?
We're talking about, excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. We didn't lose you, did we?
No, I'm here. Give me a moment.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're talking about there's a battle, and when you've won the battle, there are simply no. So who engages in battle at the end of the day? It's men, right? It's not children or elderly or women who were out there on their horses or camels and swords fighting. It was men. So when and you, as you know, battling and wars and all this was the law of the land in the ancient Middle East, and you know this even in the pre-Islamic days. So if somebody wins a battle and there's no more men or a shortage of men and there's all these women, it's even in the Bible they used to, they will go and they will marry the women, and they will take them and they will.
We're not talking about married women.
And so this is a common practice,
Jihad.
which goes back to
Azizi, Jihad. That wasn't what I said. We're not talking about taking women and marrying them who are not married. The Quran says that these women are still married. You can still have sex with them. The husbands are not dead. They're alive. And you don't have to marry them. You can have sex with them. Are you okay?
Okay, so it doesn't say, they're still alive. Don't go.
Did you read 424? Brother, in humanity, let me repeat what it says. Unlawful are married women except those whom your right hands possess. If they're not still married, you don't make an exception. And then the hadith says their husbands were still alive.
Let me look at this on the computer.
Go ahead. And the hadith says their husbands were still alive. Sunan Abu Dawud. I'll give you the hadith. You can read it.
Also, married women.
By the way, before you say, hey, for that clown, before you say something, hold on, Jihad, before you say something, hold on. For that clown
why are you
who's saying,
calling me a clown
not
now?
you, man. If you let me finish, I'm talking to someone in the comment section, dude. Calm down. I'm not talking to you. Let me finish. There's some clown here in the comment section. For the clown who's barking, saying, will I accept the historian debate? I already did. Stop barking. Get the hell out of here if you're a tool of the devil. Stop being of the son of the devil to cause division, you filth. Yes, you, Maranatha, I will decimate you and anyone like you. Get the hell out of here, you clown. You of the devil. Instead of helping us glorify Jesus, you're here barking. Get this dog out of here. Stupid dog. I'm sorry, man. I'm not talking to you, Jihad. Go ahead, man. I was talking to some clown in the comment section. Go ahead.
Okay. So the right hand possessions are essentially when you have won a war, you have you have certain rights.
So you have rights to sleep with a married woman that you've taken captive?
No, I mean, she's not married at that point.
The husband's still alive, the hadith says. She's there. He's there. It says it. Their husbands were still alive. Sunan Abu Dawood, number 2150. I'll give you the hadith.
Sunan Abu Dawood.
Abu Dawood. Abu Dawood.
Let me go to Sunan.
Let me get it for you. Hold on, I'll get it for you. Let me get it for you. Let me just get it.
I'm on my computer.
Okay. Put in Sunan Abu Dawood. Sunan the
I'm talking to you on Skype. Okay, so I can go to Sunan Abi Dawood, and then we can give me some keywords here. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it should be Autas, the Battle of Autas. Let me get it for you. Okay.
I can type the keywords of the hadith.
Yep. I'm doing that for you too. I'm doing it. It should be Autas, Awtatas. I think that's how they spelled in English. Let me see. Righty then. Autas. Yeah, it should be soon enough to do it. Well, I have it. I'll get it for you. That's the problem with the hadiths, that you got to keep looking for it. Here, I found it for you. It's Autas. If you put Autas, you'll find it. Here it is. Let me give it to you in the comment section. Here's the hadith, guys. Here it is. There it is. Sunnah.com. And here you go. You can read it for yourself. It says their husbands are still there, my friend. Hold on. Their husbands didn't go anywhere. There you go. Yep. So read it for us. It's right there.
I'll take a look at it. Yeah. Okay. Occasion of the Battle of Hunayn, they met their enemy and fought with them. They defeated them and took them captive. Some of the companions of Apostle of Allah were reluctant to have relations with the female captives because of their pagan husbands. So
why didn't they want to have sex with them?
Because they knew their husbands prior to their death.
Where does it say death? So you added to that. It's stuck for Allah. Then if they're dead, they're not married. Where does it say
they were alive?
It just said it. They didn't want to have sex with them because of their husbands. If the husbands are dead, then there is no husbands for them to worry about. Let me give you another hadith.
Does it say that they're dead, that they're alive?
Yeah, we're reluctant to have intercourse with the female captives.
My friend.
Okay.
So first of all, this hadith doesn't support your argument, and it doesn't necessarily support mine either. But it doesn't say that their husbands were alive.
Read the Arabic for me, because I have this translation. There's two translations. It says, we're reluctant to have intercourse with the female captives in the presence of their husbands who are unbelievers. Now, you listen to your logic as you read the Arabic. Listen to what you're saying. If their husbands weren't alive, that means they're not married. There's nothing to worry about, right? Right? Because if the husbands are dead, then there's nothing to worry about. They're not married. They're not married. So why worry about their husbands who are dead and they're no longer married? That means they're not married. They're widows, so you can have them. Hello?
Well, these guys were, these were the enemies. These were the people who...
So it's okay for a Muslim, if he's doing jihad, and he takes captive women who are married, to have sex with the woman, right? You're okay with that?
At that time, this is what was permitted.
And where has it? Where do you
as
find?
I said, if we go to third, so this is a descriptive. So if we go to the Bible, you will find the same thing.
No,
and
you
then
won't.
you'll
Not
tell
here.
me we don't do it now.
No, the Bible doesn't
we
teach
don't do
this.
it now. This happened at that time.
The jihad. You're not listening. The Bible.
Why don't you apply the same?
I am, because you're not listening. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that the Israelites could take a married woman captive and have sex with her. The Bible actually does something better than the Quran. It says when you find a woman, you marry her and honor her. You can't touch a woman who's married. And if there's a woman captive who's single, you don't have sex with her. It says marry her and treat her as a wife and honor her. That's Deuteronomy 21.
What verse is that? I got
Deuteronomy 21.
Right here.
Deuteronomy 21. See, you're not listening, so I'm going to give it to you. Deuteronomy 21, 10 to 14. What do you mean, what verse? Deuteronomy 21, 10 to 14. Okay, but you just said, I want to, here's where you confuse me. Can you show me where?
21.
10 to 14. Now listen to this point as you go there. Deuteronomy 21, 10 to 14. I'm sorry. Surah An-Nisa 424. Can you tell me where this does not apply to Muslims doing jihad today? If a Muslim does jihad and he attacks a place, you're telling me that verse is no longer applicable? So jihad is no longer applicable? Jihad is over with?
Yeah. I mean, well.
Really?
It's not in this way, it's not prescribed.
So you're saying when the Muslims do jihad, they're going against the Quran because jihad is done with, even though the hadith say you will struggle in the way of Allah till the last day, even against the Jews, that the Jews will be hiding behind a stone and the stone will say, Ya Abdullah. You're honestly saying jihad is done with? That's it?
Well, it's complicated.
It's complicated. So when ICE entered Iraq, took Yazidi women and Christian women and Yahudi women and were raping them. Well, I won't say rape, sleeping with them. They were going against the Quran?
Well, you say there has to be a state.
What happens when you don't have an Islamic state and when you don't have a Khalif who's following Sharia, and then you have Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi claiming to be the Khalif and fighting the cause of Allah? Are you saying Quranically they're wrong? If so, where? Give me the hadith and the Quran says they're wrong.
Look. I'm not going to sit here and go into all that. Because
so are you okay then with a Muslim man taking a married woman captive? And I mean, better yet, you're okay with your prophet doing it? Were you okay with your prophet doing it?
It was something that they did back then.
And you're okay with your prophet doing it?
Prescribed.
So you're okay then?
Huh?
You're okay with your prophet, he did that. Married women having sex with them and then selling them off. You okay with it?
Look, if there were no more men after the war, then there had to be some men to take care of those women.
You mean the men, their husbands were still alive? They were not there? The husbands that they took captive, that was right there. So, what do you mean there were no men? The husbands were there. Why not just give them to their husbands?
Because they were imprisoned.
Okay, so you're okay with it. Okay, now, are you okay also with your prophet? Because you said Islam, you brought this up.
But it's at that time.
It's that time. So when a Muslim does it today, then he's going against Islam, even though nowhere in the Quran hadith that says those commands for that time, not today. Even I'd like you, challenge you to show me where it says those commands were for then, not today. I'd love to see those, but you won't show it to me because the Quran hadith doesn't say that.
That's not in the Bible either.
You want to bet? Jesus came and established a new covenant. You want to bet? It's in the New Testament. You forgot the New Testament, huh? So let's.
Yeah, the abrogated book.
Oh, okay. But like the Quran abrogates itself, nasikh wa mansukh. So you have a problem with abrogation? Now let's come back to this issue. Let me ask this issue of you. Okay. Are you okay, because you said Islam teaches good, are you okay with your prophet marrying the divorced wife? Notice I said divorced wife. We're not going to get into whether he caused a divorce. Are you okay with your prophet marrying the divorced wife of his son-in-law?
just to make my point clear about the previous subject. It was at that time, yes, but but what you're saying, whatever's going on now in Iraq, no, it's not allowed because those guys were not acting in accordance with Islam.
All right, let's put them aside. Let's say you have now a khilafah, a legitimate khilafah, and a legitimate khalif, and the Muslims agree. Listen to what I'm saying. Legitimate. Let's assume he's legitimate. Everyone agrees. When you have a legitimate khalif, a khilafah, it's established legitimately, and then he orders jihad. Will then it be okay for the Muslims, like you, when you attack a place, to take married women captive and have sex with them today, if there's a legitimate caliphate? Be honest.
Now, if there's a legitimate caliphate, then there can be a war between nations because the caliphate is a nation. But that doesn't mean that certain things must be practiced.
No, I didn't say must. If you attack a place, a legitimate caliphate, and you take captive women, can you have sex with them even if their husbands are alive, according to the Quran Hadith?
It's not something that would be, it's not. Okay, so that issue that you were talking about related to that time, but it's not something that it's like, okay, we must have sex with
their husbands. You're twisting my words,
Jihad. A commandment. It's not like a commandment as we must do that.
No,
it's
Jihad,
like,
you're twisting my words.
Okay,
I didn't say you must.
Occurred.
I didn't say you must. You're twisting my words. I didn't say you must. I'm saying if there is a legitimate caliphate, you have a legitimate caliph, a khalif, legitimate. It's according to Sharia. And he orders jihad against, let's say, America. You have captive women who are married and you want to have sex with them. I didn't say you must. I didn't say that. Can you have sex with them if they're your captives and their husbands are alive? Is that still okay if you want to do it?
If their husbands are alive, no.
Where does the Quran say if their husbands are alive? No. I just read to you, it says their husbands are alive, you can.
At that time was different. So at this time, we don't, it's not a commandment that you must do this.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about something else now, because you mentioned a good. Islam teaches good. So I'm just going with this. Okay. Let's talk about when Zayd ibn Haritha divorced Zaynab bint Jash. Okay. Muhammad married her. She was married to his adopted son. Are you okay? I want to know this. Be honest with me. Are you okay with Muhammad marrying the divorced wife of his adopted son? Because let me explain to you why I'm saying this. Because now you know that when she marries your prophet, she becomes one of the mothers of the believers, right? al-Mu'mineen. She's one of the mother of the believers. So now Zayd, who was her husband sleeping with her, must now look at her as his mother. Very awkward situation. Are you okay with that?
There doesn't appear to be any moral issue with that.
No moral issue with taking your one-time daughter-in-law to be your wife and have sex with her when your adopted son used to sleep with her and now he has to see her as his mother, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Well, they were divorced.
Yeah, but okay. So you are my adopted son. You're married, and for all those years.
Real son.
Okay, let me give you an example. You are my adopted son. You're abandoned. I found you in an orphanage. I adopted you. I raised you as my son, and you know no other father. You got married to a woman. You divorced her. I marry her, and I have sex with her, and you'll be okay with looking at that woman who you slept with, whom you had children with. Now she's my wife. Now she becomes your stepmom. You're okay with that?
It's not morally objectionable. I mean there could be emotions involved, obviously, amongst people, but it's not morally objectionable. It's like if you got a divorce with your wife, okay, and then your brother married her. It's like it's like, yeah, there might be some.
That would be the most
involved.
disgusting thing my brother could do. It would be considered treachery. How dare you go and then marry my ex-wife?
Okay, but let's say there was no adultery ever. There was nothing like that, but the marriage was dissolved. And then later on down the line, your brother found that she was compatible with her and they got married.
No sane.
You might not like it.
No sane.
There would be many people in Western society that say, hey, it's okay.
No sane, moral person, if he's sane and he's moral and he's God-fearing, would take his brother's ex-wife and marry her to bed if he's sane. Now, if he's a sick, demented pervert, a sicko, demonic bastard, yeah, people do that all the time. Just like people sleep with their own children.
Well, that's a different category.
Okay, so you said you're okay with it. Now, are you okay then that after that happened, Muhammad abolished adoption, saying, do not call them your sons anymore. Name them sons of after their fathers because they are brothers in faith. So then he abolished adoption after that. You okay with that? Did he abolish adoption?
Yeah, he abolished adoption to avoid any sort of confusion about.
So you okay with him abolishing adoption?
There people still practice adoption.
Not in Islam, you can't. Sharia, you can't. You can take in an orphan, but you can't treat him as your son, and he's not an heir. You can raise him, but he can't be your son, and he's not an heir. He doesn't inherit from you. So I'm asking you again, are you okay with your prophet?
Yeah, you can take care of him, but you don't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's
you're okay with that?
You can take care of orphans, but you don't have to. I mean, if
so
he's
you're okay
adopted,
with it?
You don't have to give him as your biological children. No, but I mean, because he has a gift that you're taking care of him. Otherwise, so, his.
So you're okay then?
You leave him what you have.
Jihad, I'm only asking you. You okay then that your prophet abolished adoption?
Yeah. I mean,
okay, but here's my question. I have two questions. Didn't chapter 33, verse 37 of the Quran say, the reason why your prophet married Zainab, so that he can be an example for others to marry the divorced women of their adopted sons? What example was your prophet setting when he then abolished adoption afterwards? There would be no more adoption. So how's he setting an example? Look, I married my adopted son's divorced wife. You can too. Oh, but guess what? I abolished adoption. So me marrying my adopted son's ex-wife doesn't suit as an example for anyone, because from now on, there is no adoption.
No more adoption.
But then why did chapter 33, verse 37 said, the reason why your prophet married her was to be an example for others that they too could marry their adopted sons' divorced wives. Didn't Allah know he's going to abolish adoption? So why have Muhammad do it as an example? 33, 37. Chapter 33, verse 37. Read it. Read chapter 33, verse 37.
All right, I'm gonna go
read it for me. You want me to read it in English? I'll read it. But you can read it if you get there.
I got you, my friend. Just give me a reason. Give me a minute.
All right, I'm giving you a minute.
I'm not gonna stay on all night.
No, I know. Whenever you want to leave, you let me know. I just had these questions.
I'm trying to bring you to the light, my friend.
Don't worry. Jesus is shining his light in your heart, and it's a matter of time you're going to fall in love with the true Jesus. But go ahead. 33, 37.
Okay, hold on. Give me a moment.
Yep, I'll give you one. You're playing it in the background.
Which verse?
33, verse 37. Surah Al-Ahzab, 37. Ayah 37. Just read it carefully for yourself.
37?
Yep, read it. Let me know when you're there. Read it. Why did Muhammad, your prophet, marry the divorced?
وإذ تقول للذي أنعم الله عليه وأنعمت عليه أمسك.
Okay, so I have to kind of hear it.
No, I know why you're trying to hear it. You think by us hearing the Quran, we're going to be enticed. Oh, wow, look at the beauty. Yeah, okay, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But go ahead, read it for me. Good one, though. You're smart, though, Jihad. You're very smart. I like that.
I'm doing the best I can.
Okay, just read the verse. Explain to me then. Reciting it doesn't tell me what it means. Can you explain the verse? It says that when Zayd had finished with her, we then married her to you so that this would serve an example for others that they could marry the
divorced women are allowed. I mean, okay.
Okay, but that wasn't my question, Jihad. You're not listening to my question.
Divorced women are halal.
But that wasn't my question, Jihad. Did you hear what my question?
Am I right or wrong, boss?
Okay.
Tell me.
Can I,
Mr. Student of the Quran, can you marry a divorced woman? Tell me.
Okay. No, on the Bible, you can't just marry divorced women. There has to be legitimate ground. But that, forget me. I didn't have a problem with your religion allowing divorced women to be married.
You're a student of the Quran. Okay, you know that divorced women are halal.
That's not my question.
Right,
but that's not my question, Jihad. Do you know what my question is?
Go ahead.
It says that the reason why your prophet married Zainab, it doesn't mention her name, so that others could marry the divorced wives of their adopted sons. There'll be no shame in the matter. Do you read that there? Doesn't it say that?
No, I got to read it.
Then read it, man. 33, 37. Read it.
Remember when you said to him, Zayd bin Harith, the freed slave, on whom Allah has bestowed grace by guiding him to Islam, and you, O Muhammad, have done favor by manumitting him. Keep your wife to yourself and fear Allah. So,
keep reading.
But you did hide in yourself, i.e. what Allah has already made known to you, that He will give her to you in marriage. No.
Keep reading,
this
man.
He tried to help her stay the marriage.
Okay, keep reading. You didn't finish.
This is English. They got brackets, you know.
Okay, forget the bracket. You want me to read it? I'll read it. Okay, I'll read it. I'll read it.
Which Allah will make manifest. My friend.
Can I read it? The rest of the part you're not reading?
They got divorced. And
okay, let me read the rest of it.
Married.
Okay, now let me read the rest of it you didn't want to read. We joined her.
No. It says whereas Allah had a better right that you should fear Him.
Okay, keep going.
Huh?
Yeah, keep going. You didn't finish it, man. Keep going.
Right. So,
can I read the verse for you?
Had accomplished his desire from her.
Yes.
We gave her to you in marriage.
Keep going.
So that there may be no difficulty to the believers in respect of the wives of their adopted sons. Okay,
finish it,
friend. What is your difficulty here?
Okay, Jihad, let me finish because you're confused. Let me read it. So, in order that in future there may be no difficulty to the believers in the matter of marriage with the wives of their adopted sons, when the latter have dissolved the necessary formality with them. So, did you see why Muhammad married Zainab? So that other believers could then also marry the divorced wives of their adopted sons. But my question is, did your God not know that after this, Muhammad would abolish adoption? So that how could Muhammad be an example for others to follow when after this, he stopped adoption? See the problem now? Okay, now, as you're thinking about that, I want to bring up another problem because your prophet's supposed to be.
I'll come back to that.
Okay. Well, let me give you another problem, and if you need to go, it's fine.
They got divorced. My friend. They got divorced. So he married her, but it's not like, oh yeah. So, but
okay,
adoption.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me give you the final problem.
People needed to be clear that.
Okay.
You know, you can marry a divorced woman because an adopted son is not a real son. It's just another guy.
Okay, let me go with that. Let me go with that. This was my second problem.
So he wanted to, the point needs to be made. Go ahead.
Yeah. The other problem. Now, notice what you just said. Your prophet, your God, is supposed to be merciful. All right. You and I both know there are thousands, if not millions, of children in orphanages whose parents have died. And there are couples who can't have children because they're barren. All because of your prophet, these parents can't adopt these orphans and treat them as their own children. The only hope they have of having someone to call their child, their son and daughter, is through adoption. And these orphans, the only chance they have of having parents is someone adopting them. But thanks to your prophet, that will never be a reality. He destroyed it.
Here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
You didn't even let me. Did you hear my objection or no?
I know where you're going with this.
Okay, so what did I say?
They can't have kids. They can't have. Okay. So they can take the kid. So the kid has no parents, right?
Can he call her mommy?
My heart goes out.
Can he say you're my mom?
My heart goes out to all orphans. No child ever asked to be in that situation.
So can that child say to that Muslim woman, "You are my mommy," and she said, "You are my son, sweetie"? Can the dad say, "My son, I love you," and then the orphan say, "You're my father, I love you, Baba"? Can they say that in Islam?
No.
Say it again.
They cannot.
Thank you. And yet you say Allah's merciful. Jesus puts Allah to shame. Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. No.
So my friend, let me give you an example. If a child loses his parents in a car accident and his godparents, maybe his aunt and his uncle, they take him, does he go and start saying, "Oh, mom and dad"?
Yes.
No, he says,
no, actually, yes. I know a true story. I know a true story. My friend who led me to Jesus, his mother died when he was young. He called his grandmother Mama. All his life, he called her Mama. Yes.
Okay, my friend, this is so ridiculous.
All
this
right.
Conversation.
Jihad, you want to come back some other time? Then we'll talk about other issues because right now it's been an hour.
Yeah, I guess we've been on for a while, and we could save it for another time.
All right, Jihad, I like you, man. Call back because I respect people who can have respectful discussions. You're more than welcome to call. So